There have been a series of blasts that rocked parts of Baluchistan last week. In the wake of that, there's now an advisory, a travel advisory that's been issued by the US Embassy, even as there is now greater possibility of more turmoil on the streets of Pakistan. There have been massive protests led by Imran Khan's party, which is now asking he be released. And given the draconian law that's been passed by the Pakistani government, it is able to ensure a greater crackdown on opposition. Where does this lead? What is the dynamics in terms of impact on India, the security implications? Does it mean a more volatile border situation for us? We talk on all that and more with my guests this evening. In the first discussion on India Global, we have Dr. Zakir Hussain, former research fellow of ICWA. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And we also have Imtiaz Gul, who's a senior journalist joining us from Pakistan. Imtiaz, let me start with you because I want to understand the situation right now on ground, as this, what it seems like is extreme volatility, extreme turmoil, possibly greater clashes that could be in store between PTI supporters and the government, even as there are now all signs that no side could actually back down from here.
Well, this is an unfortunate situation that Pakistan currently finds itself in, and the top leader of People's Party, Bilawal Zardari, also alluded to this in his speech to the National Assembly a couple of hours ago, in which he said that if today the government is rejoicing what has happened to the PTI people, then tomorrow it could be us, it could be the ruling party, the Pakistan Muslim League. And that's why we need to create a situation in which all parties basically find a middle ground for taking Pakistan out of the current crisis. And this is something that obviously not the majority of Pakistanis don't like. But the irony of the situation is that even though Bilawal Zardari is talking about this explosive situation, his own party is very much part of the coalition that is currently ruling Pakistan. His own party has grabbed 2 governorships out of the 4, and then a number of ministries, so to say. So the party is enjoying power, sitting pretty, while lecturing the other senior partner, Pakistan Muslim League, in showing restraint, in showing accommodation. And he also is saying that, look, the job of the government, of the sitting government, is not to inflame the situation, but to douse the fire. But this basically comes across as very ironic that these both are.
Yes, Mr. Gul, I'm going to come and ask you, give me about a minute. I'm going to come back to you to ask about where does this go from here, because it seems very volatile right now. But Dr. Hussain, talk to us about the security implications of this, because the internal turmoil in Pakistan that has been on ever since those cases were slapped on Imran Khan, this year's election verdict, which has been which many believe, of course, is a complete mockery of the election process itself. And since then, it's just been downhill in terms of yet another nail in the coffin as far as Pakistan's fragile democracy is concerned.
Yeah, it is very true that since Imran Khan has been imprisoned, and even before that, the situation was deteriorating in Pakistan, but the establishment was not taken care of, especially military, which itself is complicit in this deterioration. And now it has launched a crackdown on terrorism, but terrorism has taken revenge. And in 2024 itself, 325 events has taken place. And in August itself, 59 events has taken place, killing 84 people. Balochistan and Pakhtunkhwa province are very active. That's why United States has issued advisory, level 3 advisory.
There. But the reason for that is also because the locals resent the growing Chinese presence. The fact that everything is going to the Chinese and the remaining is being siphoned off by the central government. But what about what's happening on the streets right now of Islamabad? What's happening on thousands and thousands of protesters coming out challenging whatever little legitimacy that Shahbaz Sharif's government has?
No, it does not has any legitimacy. While if we hear the voice of overseas Pakistanis, they are provoking their citizens, Pakistanis, to go on the road and do the in the fashion as Bangladeshis have done. And I think that Pakistan is running on a borrowed time because economically it is collapsed already, politically it is fragile, socially it is disturbed. So it is the right time for Pakistan establishment to restore democracy in the country because
Let
army
me
has
let me ask
lost
this
its
to Imtiaz Gul. Is there a
yeah.
regime change that we should now be bracing for?
Well, I mean, if the current situation continued, the current volatility, it could perhaps lead to a change of government anytime in the coming weeks. But I should also may add a correction that there are not tens of thousands of protesters or demonstrators on the streets of Islamabad. It was a demonstration that took on the periphery or outskirts, or the protest rally by PTI was on the periphery of Islamabad. However, it was manhandled. It was
That's an important
forcefully.
clarification, sir, that you're giving, because that's why it's important to speak to people on ground and
Yeah,
for
that's
you
what
to really tell
I
us
can
what the
state
picture
this
is.
actually.
Because we in New Delhi are
Yeah,
concerned on two parameters. One is volatility
we
has a
too as
direct impact
Pakistanis
on
are
us from a security point of view.
yeah,
And secondly, with a very
yeah, we
fragile economic state that Pakistan is in right now, this political flux could possibly lead to a greater chain of events. So I'm glad you clarified, but I want to then ask you this, that given the uneasy relationship that Imran Khan shares with the military, or we can call it establishment, that's a euphemism in Pakistan, how do you see this going from here on? Do you see the clashes intensifying, or do you think there could be some back channel negotiations?
I think there had been some back-channel negotiations, some contacts between Imran Khan and the military establishment, which he yesterday announced snapping. He said there will be from henceforth no more contacts with the establishment, particularly after this forceful assault on the parliament by the police, and after almost a dozen parliamentarians belonging to PTI were arrested from inside the Parliament House. So that was an unprecedented situation, which also put the government then on the defensive, because in the heat of the moment, probably the Minister of Interior ordered this action inside the Parliament, which is sort of enraging. The majority of Pakistan is really outraged. But now I think there's the Speaker of the National Assembly is trying to mend fence, trying to correct the
Right.
situation. However, this has been a very, very inflammatory action that the police took, and it has added further fuel to the fire.
How should Dr. Hussain, very quickly, I'm completely out of time, sir, 30 seconds. How should India be reading this situation right now?
India should be very careful about this because on his Pakistan acquired situation, this situation may go up because as United States said that there may be a unarmed conflict in there. So we should be very careful that this Pakistan establishment may not channelize this anger on India. So we
All
should
right, we
be
leave
very
it
wise.
there.
Yeah.
Dr. Hussain, Imtiaz Gul, thanks so much for breaking things down as they stand in Pakistan. My sense is I'm going to revisit this story sooner than I may like to.